ESPN continues our 50th anniversary salute to NASCAR, home of the most popular and rapidly growing form of motor racing in the world. Many of the stars of modern-day motorsports have used this asphalt stock car series as a stepping stone to the major leagues, including this tour's winningest driver and only 7-time champion Dick Trickle. Today, a record 41 entries representing 10 different states will compete on this 1-mile superspeedway as they attempt to continue the tradition of excellence set forth by names like Trickle, Wallace, Martin, and Musgrave. Yes, these are the faces of tomorrow's stars as they dream of where this series is going, and even a venerable veteran who remembers how far it's come. Our Speed World coverage comes to you today from the ultra-modern Pikes Peak International Raceway as we present the NASCAR RE/MAX Challenge Series Cornwell Tools 150. Now I know what the late John Denver meant when he coined the phrase Rocky Mountain High. It is just gorgeous out here in the great state of Colorado. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with 1997 Busch Grand National Series Rookie of the Year, Steve Park. And, Steve, when you go in the garage area and look in the eyes of these young hopefuls, it has to remind you a little bit of yourself just a few years ago.
Yeah, it does, Jerry. And just looking at these guys and them competing over the last few days reminds me of me about 5 years ago. And really just running on some of the quarter-mile and half-mile tracks in the Northeast, just trying to gain some exposure that we would need to really move up into the next series, like the Truck Series or the Busch Series or the Winston Cup Series.
Now, Steve, when you make the transition from the quarter-mile and half-mile tracks and come to a fast super speedway like this 1-mile track here, what is the most difficult part of that transition for a driver?
Well, I think the most difficult part is really just the sheer speed of it. And from talking to the guys, just carrying the speed off into the corners is something that they're not really just exactly comfortable with just yet. So, but a lot of the guys that have been running up front and qualified up front are getting used to it pretty quick.
Take a look at the point standings. After 4 of 18 events on the $750,000 tour, 27-year-old Brian Hoppe holds a scant 37-point edge over Steve Carlson. And look, just 45 points separate the top 5, just 99 points separating 6th through 10th. Well, this series has a bright future, a lot of youth and a lot of experience. For more on that, here's a third member of our broadcast team, Marty Reed.
And one of those guys you talked about having all that experience, that cigar-jumping veteran, well, he's going to start 8th today. 57-year-old Jim Weber. The professor is ready to teach these guys some lessons. He has finished in the top 10 all 4 times out this season. And we'll get a good judge against some of these young talents because Rick Corelli is in this field. Everybody who follows the Craftsman Truck Series, real familiar with that name. Then you move on up. The young names that we're going to keep an eye on, 37 of Jason Schuler. He's going to start on the inside of row 2. Right alongside of him, the number 8 of Eddie Hoffman. And then you talked about the points leader. He's going to be on the outside of row number 1, the 51 of Brian Hoppe. And alongside of him will be our pole sitter, the 0 of Jimmy Engelbright.
41 cars getting set to start the largest field in the 24-year history of the Art Code NASCAR RE/MAX Challenge Series. When we come back, the starting lineup in the green flag.
Your day just never seems to start until you make one important stop.
How's it going? Good. How you doing?
Doing good now. Did somebody say McDonald's?
What a day. Couldn't be better.
Is your electric trimmer feeling weak? Tired of hassling with that bump and feed spool? Get more power with the all-new Grass Gator electric trimmer head. It installs in seconds with no tools and turns your ordinary electric trimmer into a powerful cutting machine. 2 serrated blades slice through stubborn weeds and tall grass, and blades change in seconds with Grass Gator's patented snap pin design. Rains from El Nino guarantee a bumper crop of weeds this year. Fight back with the Grass Gator. If it doesn't have an alligator on the package, you're working too hard. Available at fine home centers worldwide.
Mission Control, we have a problem.
Even in today's high-tech engines, deposits can still diminish power.
Dirty fuel system affecting performance.
Enter Valvoline Sin Power, a new line of additives and cleaners, like complete fuel system treatment, formulated with component-targeting synthetics that lock on and eliminate those power-robbing deposits, so your engine runs cleaner and performs the way it should.
We have ignition.
Valvoline Sin Power, rocket science for the road. Right now, buy any 2 SynPower products for the price of 1 with mail-in rebate.
1, 2, 3, 5. Oh, that's how I love that tree. It's gonna be
Eagle One A to Z all-wheel cleaner. Spray on, hose off, towel dry. Easy as 1, 2, 3.
Eagle One A to Z. It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway, the largest field in the history of the NASCAR REMAX Challenge Series set to roll. Our pole setter making his first ever REMAX Challenge start, 36-year-old Jim Engelbreit out of Vacaville, California. Beside him, the current series point leader, Brian Hoppe. Back in row 2, the 1997 Rookie of the Year for the series, Jason Schuler, flanked beside last year's series champion, Eddie Hoffman. And back in row 3, who needs no introduction, Rick Corelli, the winningest driver in Southwest Tour history, a former series champion there, as well as the Winston West Series, and former Indy Light competitor Mike Snow in the car number 21. Back in row 4, Dudley Fleck, 37 years of age, and there's the aging veteran, 57-year-old Jim Weber, the 2-time series champion. Back in row 5, J.R. Roehrig alongside Justin Dirks, who's just 18 years of age. Row 6, Ron Breese Jr., the 1994 Rookie of the Year, alongside the 4-time series champion Steve Carlson. Back in row 7, Mark Krause, his second year only at asphalt racing, and Chad Nolting, who's run some All-Pro Series competition. Back in row 8, Joe Bellum, who will carry an onboard camera. He races locally at Colorado National, just above Denver, Colorado, and Ray Daniels, whose daughter will be married tonight. We'll tell you more about Ray's special day a little later on. Row 9, Al Schell and Travis Quapple. And back in row 10, as you look at our starting lineup, Bruce Yackey in the car number 12 and Brad Wagner. As you look at the rest of our starting grid, 41 cars will start. A great field of cars on hand for 150 laps of racing action, 150 miles on this 1-mile Pikes Peak International Raceway. And Steve, this series has been very impressive. I know it's the first year for the NASCAR ARTGO co-sanctioning of this REMAX Challenge, but already after 4 events, we've had 4 different winners.
Yeah, this series has been ultra competitive, and you can tell that by just having in 4 races, having 4 different winners. And what's pretty neat is that the guy who won the last race at Wisconsin International Speedway couldn't make it to this race this year because he competes full-time in the ASA division.
How about that? Look at the series specs here. 358 cubic inch engines. They're limited compression. Horsepower, 525. That weight is with the driver. You see the wheelbase and roof height. Take a look at some of our cameras that are on board. Here is the Bellum car. Joe Bellum starting 15th, the onboard camera. And Rick Corelli starting 5th, winningest driver in Southwest Tour competition.
And the High Plains drifter.
All right, the field 41 strong, coming down 2 by 2 as the green flag is waved by Tom Powell. And the initial REMAX Challenge Series is underway at Pikes Peak International Raceway.
It's amazing, Jerry, the difference in the speed in the cars from maybe the top 10 cars to the top 20 cars. So it's going to be interesting to see if the guys stay grouped together in groups or if they're going to get really spread out over the racetrack.
Indeed, first time by, there is Travis Quapple in the car number 35 trying to make a move early on. Quapple had qualified back in the 18th spot, and nearly some contact there between he and the car number 80.
It looked like they thought they were going to go 3 wide there for a second.
That's Ray Daniels in the car number 80. Mark Krause in the car number 9, you see back there involved in that battle as they battle back in the pack at his 13th, 14th, and 15th position. Now Joe Bellum in the car number 73, the brightly painted machine up on the outside. Jim Engelbreit, our leader, in the car number 0, left side of your screen, second spot. Right now, Brian Hoppe, but he's getting a challenge from Jason Schuler.
when you see something happening here that people are curious about, they were going to be able to run too wide through the corners, and it seems like even at the start of the race here that they're pretty comfortable with that already.
Some of the drivers, as you heard Steve Park say just a moment ago, trying to get comfortable. Got to wonder, Steve, when you're accustomed to running the shorter events, 100 lappers, 125 lappers, do you have to think about pacing yourself early on an event like this?
Well, I don't know. With the halfway break being around the 75th lap, I think these guys are going to go all out. I don't think they're really going to pace themselves too much in the beginning of the race because they know that they're going to get a caution at halfway and be able to come in and put tires on. So I think these guys want to get to the front. It's going to make for a good race.
That's a point we make. This is a 150-lap race, but there is a halftime break, much like in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
It's really amazing how similar the rules are from this series to the Craftsman Truck Series with the halfway break and the amount of tires they can take and a lot of different similarities in the rules.
This battle here is for 14th position. The car number 80 trying to hold on. Ray Daniels out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, the 35 car. And you see a battle here. The car number 9 making a move. That's Mark Krause.
Looks like he's trying to hold off Steve Carlson there on the inside.
And Carlson dropping back a little bit. Now the car number 10 of Chad Knowlton going by. Carlson is the 4-time series champion. '71 car, Larry Middleton Jr. Meanwhile, back up front, the car they're chasing is that bright yellow one left side of your screen, 36-year-old Jim Englebright. 5 years on the Southwest Tour. Has also run some limited Slim Jim All-Pro competition, but his first time in the Remax Challenge Series, he puts his car on the pole. But now, Ryan Hoppe, the 27-year-old Remax Challenge veteran, along with last year's Rookie of the Year, Jason Schuler, closing in somewhat.
It looked like earlier that Brian Hoppe was fading back a little bit and getting challenged by Jason Schuler, but now I think he's turned up the wick a little bit. Looks like he's going to get a challenge for the lead.
Wonder Bar, the sponsor on Jim Englebright's car, as they are 3 wide back in the pack, and once again, that is the car of Steve Carlson that is slowing. Carlson, who qualified in 12th position. Marty Reed, what's the problem?
Guys, he's reporting in down here. He has got a severe push, and that is the reason he is backing up real fast.
Well, he certainly has a severe push. Steve Park, he's now down on the apron. He's obviously going to come to pit road. He must have something major wrong in the chassis of that car.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to determine what's making the car push. And caution's out. We got a car in turn. I can't really see from here. It looks like it's in turn 2.
All right.
On the outside of turn 2.
P.J. Materano will bring out the first caution flag today. His car number 46 spinning. Coming to rest up against the walls. You heard Steve Park say a moment ago up in turn 2. And that would be a break somewhat for Steve Carlson. And Marty is standing by in his pit.
Yes, and it looks like they're going to change a right front tire. Now, remember, there is a rule in NASCAR. In fact, if it is not punctured or going down, and it looks like it is got deflation, so it looks like this will be a legal tire change. If that was not approved by NASCAR, he would be penalized, similar to the Craftsman Truck Series. So Carlson's going to lose a lot of ground here, but the yellow at least allows him to get in and get the tire change.
All right, a break for the 4-time series champion. And here is P.J. Materano, the 27-year-old driver from Trinidad, Colorado, who brought the first caution flag of the day. Still in the early laps with Jim Englebright as our leader.
Out of town. That's right, get out of town. Carson City's Michael Hole RV Center is making it easy to get out of town this summer. Head for the mountains in a new StarCraft tent trailer from just $39.95. Hit the lake in America's #1 selling travel trailer, just $84.95. Discover America in a diesel pusher motorhome, only $79,995. So what are you waiting for? Get out of town today in a new RV from Michael Hole RV Center in Carson City.
Thanks, Mike. Alpha Computers Communications now has a new location in Carson City at the Southgate Center next to Walmart. For hardware, software, computer networks, and more, Alpha Computers features all the major brands or industry standard compatibles at competitive prices. Plus, their state-of-the-art service center provides both in-store or on-site repairs and upgrades. For the latest in communications, Alpha Computers offers Lucent Technologies telephone systems. So whatever your computer or communication needs may be, stop by Alpha Computer Communications, open 7 days a week in the Southgate Center next to Walmart.
Night, the X Games end with a bang on day 9. Dave Mira and Dennis McCoy gear up for Bicycle Stunt Burt, the finals. And Annie McDonald meets champion Chris Sen in Skateboard Street, finals. The X Games, tomorrow night at 8:30 on ESPN2.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway, there's our flagman signaling the 1 to go as we come back to green flag racing here momentarily. Tom Powell holding the caution flag that came out just moments ago for the spin by PJ Metarano up in turn 2. Meanwhile, this car has been on and off pit road for service. Let's check in with Marty Reed.
Yeah, Doc, and the reason Carlson's moving towards the back of the pack is because he put the wrong tire on. The crew had a left side tire on that right front, so they had to bring him back in and change it one more time. So that's why the 66 of Steve Carlson is going to have a long road to go back to the front.
Boys. And we're going to show you some special facts about today's event. 41 starters, a series record. The first time in 335 events, the fastest qualifier started first. Normally they invert the field. This is the longest race of the year thus far, 150 miles. And third largest person, a 24-year history of the Outdoor NASCAR Remax Challenge Series. Joined us, Jim Engelbright was our pole sitter and has led every lap since the wave of the green flag as we have a challenge now for position. Rick Corelli will take the spot away. Moving underneath Ed Hoffman for position.
I think everybody's fears are going to come true with Rick Corelli moving his way to the front. Everybody was kind of nervous with the speeds he was turning in practice that he had a good car, and with his experience he was going to be able to move his way up through the field.
And speaking of Rick Corelli, he was well known in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Let's check into our truck expert in the pits. Here's Marty Reed.
Well, I talked to Rick right before the start of the race, and I said, what changes in me? He said, well, the tires. We're worried about these Hoosier bias supplies going that full 75. They took 8 pounds of pressure out of the right side, and my eyes bugged out. I don't know about you, Steve, but I thought that was a lot. But he said the longer the run goes, the better those tires will be.
You're right, Marty, and I think that's why you saw him start off with a slow start. And when I was down at the drivers' meeting this morning, they warned the guys going into the first corner at the start of the race with the air pressure being as low as possible that not to make a mistake and push up into the guy alongside you on the double file start.
Once again, these are Hoosier bias ply tires. They're an economy tire to try to keep the cost down here in this Remax Challenge Series.
We got a car with a left rear flat trying to work its way into the pit area right now.
So a challenge up front. Here goes Hoppe on the inside. Car number 51. That is Brian Hoppe. Will make a move inside of Jim Engelbright here on lap number 17. And Engelbright will be shuffled high. And here comes last year's Rookie of the Year, Jason Schuler, driving a Ford Thunderbird. And they will shuffle Engelbright from the lead back to third spot.
Brian Hoppe did a great job of moving him up a little bit and getting the lead and really bringing Jason Schuler along with him. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jim Engelbright can run with these guys.
All right, we might mention the car that came on the pit road a moment ago was John Reynolds from Rockford, Illinois. He was the number 13 car that had a flat tire. You heard Steve Park mentioning. As you look at our field summary, the number in parentheses is where these cars started. You look at the 73 car of Bellum. It is spelled Bellum, but is pronounced Bellum, we are told, by Joe. And starting back in 15th spot, now working his way in the top 10 as we got a challenge for the lead once again.
You know what's interesting to see, Jerry, is that these guys, they seem to run real well out front, but when a car gets tucked up behind them, it seems to loosen them up a little bit and let them slide by, and I think that's what happened to Jim Engelbright. And once you get moved up off that bottom groove, if there's another car behind you, usually 2 or 3 will go by.
You know, you mentioned at the top of the show, Steve, about how the adjustment coming from the short tracks to a speedway, one of the biggest adjustments is dealing with the aero changes, how the air and the draft can change a race car.
Yeah, it does, and these guys aren't really used to that, and that was one of the things that I really needed to get used to when I started running some of the tracks that were 1.5 miles or bigger. the way the draft worked and the way the cars actually changed, the handling changes in the car when you have someone either in front of you or directly behind you. So these guys are real new at this, and they're doing a great job. But I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a guy who's leading the race think he has a good car, and then when a guy gets tucked up behind him, he gets shuffled back a little bit.
All right, you see that air certainly affecting the 37 car right now. We mentioned an unscheduled pit stop for John Reynolds. Marty, what was the problem?
Well, you can see him pulling back behind the wall. He has got a shredded left rear tire, and one of the things that the discussion is going on down here is that there's so much wind swirling around that maybe we're getting a lot of pebbles and rocks blown out onto the racetrack, and that's what Carlson and Reynolds may have hit and caused their tires to deflate.
All right, a tough break for Reynolds, his first ever Remax Challenge start out of Rockford, Illinois in a Pontiac Grand Prix. Now we'll try it on the high side.
That's something you haven't seen done here before, so this is pretty incredible if he can make it stick. Jason Schuler with a great pass on the outside.
26-year-old 1997 Rookie of the Year in the Remax Challenge Series takes the lead on lap 23. Not only did he take the lead, Steve Park, he is pulled away by about 4 or 5 car lengths.
He took the lead in convincing fashion. And Brian Hoppe did the right thing, too. He let him go, gave him the line down into turn 1. He knows there's a lot more racing left and doesn't want to get himself in trouble too early. So I think you'll see them close the gap back up and get back to racing again.
Great racing all around this 1 mile facility. Here's a battle back to the 12th position. Car number 10 is Chad Nolting out of Bonner Springs, Missouri in a Chevy Monte Carlo. Just in front of him is the car number 9. That is the 11th position. That is Mark Krause, only his second year of asphalt racing out of Stratford, Wisconsin. And here's the 28 car. That's the battle we're talking about for 12th position. That's the veteran Jim Weber.
And we got a caution flag out. It looks like for debris on the racetrack, Jerry.
Indeed. And this is what you heard Marty Reed talking about a moment ago. Some pebbles maybe being blown up on the racetrack. And these NASCAR officials, John Covan and company, decided to take a look at the racetrack. So the caution waves for the second time today at Pikes Peak International. Back with more in a moment.
Synthetic motor oil. Even at 475 degrees, nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace, and I race for beer. And now you can too. Go to any Hooters restaurant and compete in the Great Race for Beer sweepstakes. Win great prizes like racing jackets and hats. So make a pit stop into Hooters. Minute 15 seconds. Great time, girls. Hey, with a pit crew like this, who's in a hurry?
Catch all the excitement of the USAR Hooters Pro Cut Series each week on ESPN2.
Hi, my name is Rick, but everybody calls me The Rick, and this is my room. I got some pretty cool sports stuff around here. I got cards everywhere. There's a card of John Stockton. He lives in Utah. I haven't been there, but it's pretty cold. But he can stick the 3, and I, on occasion, have been known to stick the 3. I got a place out in my backyard, and I got the new distance and everything.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway here in Fountain, Colorado. Steve Park along with Jerry Punch and Marty Reed covering the action in the pits. There's a look at Rick Corelli, former Southwest Tour champion and Winston West Series titleist.
Looks pretty comfortable in there, don't he?
Here's today's field. Take a look. 28 Chevrolets, 5 Dodges, 4 Pontiacs, 3 Fords, and an Oldsmobile. How long has it been since you've seen Dodge as the second most prevalent car make in a NASCAR field? Been quite a while.
Yeah, it has. And to have 5 in this field is it's just another credit to the series bringing in all sorts of manufacturers.
We've seen Dodge involved heavily in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and now 5 Dodge Avengers in this Remax Challenge Series. So all you Mopar fans getting pumped up about Dodge coming back into NASCAR big time. How long will it be before we'll see him in Busch Series competition? Maybe back in Winston Cup.
Well, I don't know. That's a disputed item. They were in years ago and was pretty successful with Richard Petty and a few other guys. It would be nice to see a return, to have all the manufacturers out there involved in auto racing. And, I don't know. I still think it's going to be probably a good few years off.
All right, the field getting ready to go green. Working second caution flag today due to debris on the racetrack. Our leader is 26-year-old Jason Schuler. But meanwhile, troubles continue for this team. Back in the pits as Steve Carlson and Marty is there.
Yeah, it's bad enough that he got a one-lap penalty because he passed the field to get into the pits early. He goes back out, and all of a sudden they realize there's fluid on the concrete right underneath him, and it turns out to be a leak in his rear end cooler. So that's why you see the rear end going up. And boy, this day has just gone from bad to worse for Steve Carlson.
Boy, it has, Marty. Steve Carlson didn't even finish the second event of the year up at La Crosse Fairgrounds, Wisconsin. He blew an engine in his car in practice and raced a backup car.
Go, 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 go. Trees out.
And blew an engine there, finishing 24th. Lap 31, the restart. You heard the spotters tell their drivers that the green flag was out. And the go, go, go as Jason Schuler pulls away.
You got a great restart. But it looks like Brian Hoppy's going to reel him back in again. Just when you think Jim Englebright's going to pull out to a sizable lead, Brian Hoppe reels him back in again.
You're listening a moment ago to Rick Corelli's spotter saying still there, indicating that he was at a car looking on the outside. Corelli in fourth position. Driving for Marshall Cheswell, longtime car owner in the West and West, Southwest Tour, and now the Truck Series for NASCAR. And here's a car that was running in the top 15. In fact, they was in 12th position as the car number 10. That is Chad Nolting out of Bonner Springs, Missouri. Still no caution flag as his car erupts in smoke, and he will head for pit road.
No caution flag, though.
By the way, for you Steve Carlson fans, Carlson's Trop Arctic machine is being pushed behind the wall, so we'll update his story momentarily from Marty Reed while we watch this battle up front.
And I'd like to apologize to all the Jason Schuler fans who I called him Jason Englebright by accident, so it's Jason Schuler who's leading around now.
All right, Jason Schuler, the leader. Current series point leader, Brian Hoppe, out of Madison, Wisconsin, as you watch these battles all over the racetrack. Riding along with Joe Bellum in the car number 73. Started 15th, currently in the top 10 at 8th position. Now, Bellum hopes to take this same car tonight to Colorado National Speedway, where he'll run it on the short track. So these cars are used at all different size facilities. Challenge in the 01 car.
Yeah, by Brownie Breese Jr. He's a nice young man, and I got to meet him. He was talking to Matt Kenseth, and they seem to be pretty good friends, and he was getting some driving points from Matt Kenseth.
Challenges all over this racetrack as Rick Corelli moves to the inside of the Wonder Bar Chevrolet. Engelbart holds him off, but now they're off turn 2. Looks like Corelli may have a little advantage on the straightaway speed.
This is just what everybody predicted. You know, they thought that even though that Rick didn't qualify on the front row, that he had a car strong enough to go to the front, and he seems to be proving everybody right.
Well, Engelbart says not so fast, Mr. Corelli. Both these guys haven't run for years out on the West Coast in Southwest Tour competition, and now Engelbart, our pole sitter, trying to retake the third spot.
And he got the spot back, too. You can see his Gold Gym sponsorship on the back of his car, and I'm sure he's been going to the gym to try to build up some strength to hold off Corelli, and he's been doing a good job.
And you see Wonder Bar on the side of that car of Engelbright's. Well, our colleague Penny Parsons hung around their pits for months thinking that was a candy bar until he realized that was actually a drink dispensing machine. So
he thought it was one of those nut-covered
caramel deals. And he said, I'm going to get me one of them Wonder Bars for lunch. Well, he was surprised to realize that is a drink dispenser. Used in a lot of restaurants. That's what a Wonder Bar is. Take a look at our field summary. See some more of your favorite drivers. You see that the Nolting car number 10. Chad Nolting back behind the wall, and the guys who are off the track, including the 66 car who's gone behind the wall. Marty, let's check in with you.
Yeah, they're working down here on Chad Nolting's rear end, and it looks as though it might be the differential or the drive. They still don't know for sure, but he's already lost like 2 or 3 laps. It's going to be here a lot longer.
Tough break for the driver. The car number 10, Chad Nolting, out of Bonner Springs, Missouri, the Regional Mortgages Chevrolet. Meanwhile, back up front, Jason Schuler, the 1997 Rookie of the Year for this series. He finished 3rd overall in the points last year. Had 1 win, 11 top 10s in 1997.
And we have the 52 car smoking, and it looks like he's lost power because he's pretty slow down on the apron, and hoping he can make it back.
Great camera work, guys. Meanwhile, let's check in the pits with Marty Reed.
Well, keep your eye on Travis Quapple, guys, because the contact with the 1 car of John O'Neill. O'Neill was a lap down. That's what cut this tire down, and he may not be real happy if the 2 of them get together out on the track again.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Schuler makes the move inside of 21 of snow. That's for the 5th position.
That's for the 4th position. He just overtook him for the 4th position.
So a great run by the 37 car, last year's Rookie of the Year. Jason Schuler trying to pick up his 2nd career NASCAR REMAX Challenge Series victory. Got a win last year when he won the rookie title, finished 3rd in the points. Boy, the battles all over the racetrack. They are 2 wide, and Weber, the veteran, will make it 3 wide. We'll come back with more exciting action in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace, and I race for beer. And now you can too. Go to any Hooters restaurant and compete in the Great Race for Beer sweepstakes. Win great prizes like racing jackets and hats. So make a pit stop into Hooters. Minute 15 seconds. Great time, girls. Hey, with a pit crew like this, who's in a hurry?
Catch all the excitement of the USAR Hooters Pro Cut Series each week on ESPN2.
Synthetic motor oil. Even at 35 degrees below zero, nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
At First Plus, we do something for homeowners that a lot of other lenders won't do. We loan you up to 125% of the value of your home. So even if you have little or no equity, you can consolidate your bills and save up to 50% or more on your monthly payments. That could be hundreds of dollars a month back in your pocket.
So call 1-800-510-PLUS. At First Plus, we're working first for you.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado, I'm Jerry Punch along with Steve Parker, expert analyst. Marty Reed covering the action in the pits. And there is our leader, 36-year-old Jim Englebright, making his first ever REMAX Challenge Series start. A 5-year veteran of the NASCAR Southwest Tour. He has led 56 laps. We'll move back and show you there's a 2nd place car number 51, or actually 3rd place car number 51. There's a 2nd place car number 01. Great run
for Ronnie Breese Jr.
Hasn't led a lap. Ronnie Breese still looking for his first feature win here in the REMAX Challenge. There is Brian Hoppe, current point leader. And our most recent winner coming up at Madison, Wisconsin, back May 22nd of this year. He has led 8 laps in his car 51, his Chevrolet. Now the guy we're looking for is the man on the move. There's the car number 37, Jason Schuler.
He was fast earlier on and got penalized for coming in the pits too early while he was leading. Now he just made that charge from the back up to the front, and he's only about 6 seconds behind the leader and closing the gap.
Being shown in 4th position is Schuler. The 5th place car is a car number 9 right there. That's the efforts of Mark Krause out of Stratford, Wisconsin. Structural Transmissions for Thunderbird.
And then Jim Weber in the 28 car is 6th. and then Mike Snow.
All right, here's the veteran you're just talking about, the car number 28, 30 years of racing, a two-time series champion, 57-year-old Jim Weber out of Appleton, Wisconsin. And that is a Dodge Avenger that he is driving. Still looking for his first win here in 1998. 12 career victories on the Artco series. Boy, he's got his hands full. Car just moving up across the racetrack.
You could see his hands flailing inside the car. It looked like he was swatting some flies, but he's done a great job. And right now he's in the 6th position, about 11 seconds behind the leader, and making a good run today.
Weber being shown back in the 6th position. There's the guy we're keeping an eye on. Having to go to the back of the pack, Jason Schuler, 1997 Rookie of the Year, 26 years of age. And the folks he's chasing, well, there's the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Battle for 2nd heating up a little bit as the 51 car of Hoppe moving in on the 01. That's the red car with the black roof on the left side of your screen. Got to wonder, they got to be running all out now with just a few laps left.
Yeah, they are, and that's why you see these cars. Even Ronnie Breese Jr. right there, you saw him wiggle around a little bit, and these guys are trying to catch the leader. I mean, Jim Engelbrecht just set a blistering pace, and these guys are trying to catch him, so I don't think they're holding back at all with only a few laps left.
The 01 car, as you mentioned, is Ronnie Breese Jr., 24 years of age, out of DeKalb, Illinois, the 1994 Artco Rookie of the Year. There's the guy they're chasing, Jim Engelbrecht. Show you the interval there between him and the 2nd and 3rd place cars.
What was funny also is that a lot of the guys that were real fast in practice, that were consistently in the top 5 or the top 8, really having a shine today. Jim Engelbrecht, he settled in about the 5th or 6th fastest car in practice, then came out and sat on the pole and surprised everybody, and now he's leading the race.
All right, what about Schuler? He's inching up on that 2nd and 3rd place machine as he makes a move by the 17 car of John Lemke. Lemke is being shown 2 laps down in 16th position.
He's closed that gap up by almost a second. So right now, I think he's got a pretty fast race car. And if he doesn't drive the tires off of it or gets a caution, it's going to make for an interesting finish.
Jason Schuler, best finish this year, 3rd at Rockford, where he was also the fastest qualifier. Also had an 8th at Wisconsin International, then had 2 DNFs at La Crosse and at Madison International. So 2 finishes in 1998 for Jason Schuler. Dave Fossum prepared for Thunderbird. He builds his car himself. He said he builds race cars for a living, so that's why he's pretty popular among a lot of the drivers, because he knows how to put them together.
He sure does. I mean, he's obviously put a good car together here. He's made his way not only from the lead, but he got penalized and went to the back and back to the front again. So he's definitely got some good equipment underneath him. And, that's one of the guys I haven't had a chance to talk to. I mean, they have the difference in the cars, which they normally run, which is a straight rail car, a perimeter car that a lot of guys have tend to go to here. And I think the top 5 guys qualified with the perimeter car, which doesn't have any offset in the chassis, to a more standard car or a straight rail car that they normally run.
And by straight rail and perimeter, Steve, you're talking about basically the dynamics of the rails that actually form the chassis of the race car.
Yeah, it's actually the frame rails on a perimeter car. It's just like that. It's a perimeter that's equal on both sides with no offset. And the straight rail car carries a lot of offset on the left-hand side, which actually handles better on some of the shorter tracks.
All right, laps are winding down here. 129 of 150 are complete. Jim Engelbrecht is our leader. Back with more in a moment.
We live in a world where the curbs in the road are not laid down before you. The curbs are wherever you decide they are. And there are no lines painted to tell you where to go. And that which is solid and that which is liquid find a way to live together and play together. YAMAHA, solid thinking for a liquid world.
Carson City YAMAHA, your authorized YAMAHA jet boat dealer.
Finding jewelry is easy, but finding distinctive jewelry, well, that's not so easy. That was until the new GOLDWORKS Gallery. You see, at the GOLDWORKS Gallery, along with our master goldsmiths, you can create that custom piece of jewelry you've always wanted. Whether it's custom design or simple quality jewelry repair, all the work is done right at the store and to your satisfaction. So do yourself a favor and visit the new GOLDWORKS Gallery, now open in the Carson Mall.
Classic Sports is going inside the film vault with Al Bernstein.
I'm here in the largest boxing library in the world for Big Fights Boxing Hour.
Every Tuesday night, you're ringside for a trip through boxing history as Classic Sports uncovers the greatest classic fights, many considered lost forever.
This is the one show no fight fan can afford to miss.
Go inside the vault with Al Bernstein on Big Fights Boxing Hour, Classic Sports' new boxing series. If you don't get ESPN Classic Sports, call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado, we are a mile high. As a new high for the NASCAR REMAX Challenge Series, we are just over 1 mile in the air at Pikes Peak International Raceway. We're about an hour south of Denver, Colorado, a mile-high city. Enjoying exciting NASCAR action under a beautiful, almost cloudless sky as the battle heats up for second spot. Ron Breese Jr. has a little bit of traffic in front of him. The 35 car that had a problem a little bit earlier. Travis Quapple had some contact with a slower car and cut a tire, had to make an unscheduled pit stop. He's now being shown 5 laps back in 22nd position.
He's got Ryan Hoppe right on his tail too, so I don't think he wants to see too much traffic this late in the race, and just went high a little bit there, and I think if he makes one little slip, Ryan Hoppe's going to get by.
We're showing you the best battle on the racetrack right now. It's the second and third. Jim Engelbright has a little bit of smoke out of the back of the 01 car for Ronnie Breese Jr. And it gets worse and worse, and now the car slips, and he will have to slow coming out of turn 4.
He slipped up down in turn 1 earlier, and just a lap earlier when I mentioned it, and he must have broke something. He's obviously slowing down, and the 37 just passed him. Jason Schuler in the 37 car, he's closed the margin from lap 125 from 5 seconds down to only just over 3 seconds now. So he's really chomping at the bit trying to get to the front. So we just hope he's got enough laps to make it.
Well, just 17 laps to go. There's the second place car, Brian Hoppe. What a tough break for Ronnie Breese Jr. A moment ago running second, trying to hold off the challenge of Hoppe, and now headed to pit road as you watch the 37 car, and there's the differential between he and the second place car of Hoppe. He might have enough time to catch the second place car. I'm not sure unless they get a caution flag he'd have a shot at Engelbright, our leader.
You can see in the late stages of this race that Jason Schuler's car is right down on that white line, and that's definitely the fastest way around here. And I think that's where he's making up the most of his time, is that his car is handling so well on these old tires where everybody's starting to back up. Jason's still able to make his way to the front.
You see, he was a dominant car early on, led 53 laps. Was a leader when they came by at the halfway point. If he just joined us, but he pitted too early. And NASCAR placed him at the very back of the restart. It put him about 32nd. When they restarted the second half of this event. Of course, there's a halftime break in these longer REMAX Challenge Series efforts. He has come from 32nd all the way to 3rd as we have now 14 laps remaining. And it looks like Hoppe is basically holding the interval. There's Engelbright, our leader, in the Wonder Bar Chevrolet. Former motorcycle racer. Now 7 years in asphalt cars. We're talking about Jim Engelbright.
You know what's neat is Marty talked earlier about how lightweight the bodies are in these cars and that they're not really used to running these speeds. And Jim Engelbright, if you look close at his car, it looks like he might have a fender coming loose.
Speaking of Marty, let's update what happened a moment ago with Ron Breese Jr. Marty?
Well, the crew is not 100% sure what's wrong with the 01. They had a tire on the wall. They thought he might have cut a tire and was going down. He says, no, it's not handling like that. The smoke has dissipated, and with just these few laps remaining, they have decided to ride it out and score as many points as they can.
Well, Ronnie Breese came in 6th in the point standings. Just 11 points out of 5th behind Eddie Hoffman, who's already had his troubles today. So if he can ride out to the finish, he certainly could possibly even gain some ground. A couple of guys have already had to call it a day, including Steve Carlson, who was second in the points coming in. He has pulled his car behind the wall earlier in the afternoon.
There's our leader right there, Jim Englebright, and I wonder if his guys are talking to him on the radio and letting him know that Jason Schuler's on his way, because Jason Schuler has closed the gap to under 2 seconds now, and still has one more car with Brian Hoppe to overhaul. But if he gets past there, I'm sure it's going to put some pressure on Jim Englebright for the win.
Gotta wonder if they had the time, though. There's Hoppe, there's Englebright. Well, 10 laps to go. And boy, the interval is shrinking in a hurry. We come back, we'll see if Hoppe and company can catch Englebright. Back in a moment.
When the job is tough, you need the best. And when you need the best, you reach for Channel Lock. For the power, the precision. For just plain counting on, there's only one, Channel Lock. Reach for it.
Your day just never seems to start until you make one important stop.
How's it going? Good. How you doing?
Doing good now. Did somebody say McDonald's?
What a day. Couldn't be better.
Recently, Miller Lite noticed ordering from the old label took too long.
Light beer from Miller.
So they changed the label to read
Miller Lite.
This saves time. Now, the more you order, the more extra time you'll have for other things. This couple decided to check and see what's behind the refrigerator.
What will you do with your extra Miller time?
Tomorrow night, the X Games end with a bang on day 9. Dave Mirra and Dennis McCoy gear up for Bicycle Stunt Bert, the finals. And Annie McDonald meets champion Chris Sen in Skateboard Street, finals. The X Games, tomorrow night at 8:30 on ESPN2.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Laps are winding down. Less than 10 to go. There's our leader, Jim Englebright. Right side of your screen, blue and white car, numeral 51. That is the efforts of Brian Hoppe in second spot. Hoppe has closed the interval to less than a second, making 85/100ths of a second. But does he have enough time?
And right behind him is the 37 of Jason Schuler, who just made that tremendous charge from the back of the field. But with only about 8 laps to go, it's going to be interesting to see if these guys can close in on Englebright.
That's a battle for the win. The yellow machine of Englebright, the Wonder Bar sponsorship. In comes Brian Hoppe and his Chevy Monte Carlo. Now the challenge from the Ford Thunderbird of Jason Schuler.
And they got a lap car in between them and the leaders right now, and this is exactly what Englebright was looking for. This is going to delay their process of getting to the front and hopefully give him enough time for some laps.
That is Joe Bellum, who carries one of our in-car cameras today. Bellum in the 73 car, being shown 6 laps down in 24th spot.
It looks like we got a pass for second here. Jason Schuler looking on the inside of Brian Hoppe.
Brian says, hey, not so fast, my friend. Hoppe may try to pin him behind the slower car.
Man, that's some close racing right there. They were rubbing fenders. They know that this race is winding down, and they're going for it.
5 laps to go. This time by. That's the battle for second spot. And
3
Schuler
wide.
will make it 3 wide in turn 3.
And the crowd here is just on their feet, clapping their hands. They just thought that was tremendous.
These fans in the shadow of Pikes Peak here in Colorado enjoying exciting NASCAR REMAX Challenge action. They are again side by side for second spot.
Brian Hoppe won't give it up that easy. He knows that in order for him to finish second, he's going to have to race the 37 car Jason Schuler hard, and that's what he's doing right now.
And the caution is on the racetrack as the car number 96, that's John Nutley, has spun, contacted the wall. So the caution coming out.
He's had an unbelievable weekend this weekend. He started off with blowing an engine in practice, and then ended up borrowing an engine for qualifying and having trouble with that, and taking his primary engine to a local machine shop here and having it fixed, and now to have it end in a crash is a pretty disastrous weekend.
Boy, it is for the car, for John Nutley. Joe Nutley, his younger brother, the crew chief on that Dodge Avenger. They have worked so hard. He's a rookie here in this NASCAR REMAX Challenge Series. Just look again at what may have happened. Boy, ouch, he hit a ton and just gets a glancing blow from behind as he comes off the wall.
It's hard to tell. I don't know if that was the 2-car of Chad Wood or not. Yeah, it is a 2-car of Chad Wood. It looks like he spun, and Chad Wood was just a victim there at the end and got his car tore up pretty good trying to miss it. And man, that just shows you how light these race cars are put together. They tore the door and a majority of things right off the right side of that car, Jared.
Now, most of these cars, the body work, unlike the NASCAR Winston Cup cars or the Busch Series cars you see run normally on a weekend, these are fiberglass with some carbon fiber and Kevlar involved, but primarily fiberglass. That's why you see the sides sheared away.
Yeah, these cars, the bodies on the cars being fiberglass are really made for short track racing. They're not really intended for these mile racetracks or bigger, so that's why we talked earlier about a lot of debris coming off the cars. It's a lot of this fiberglass breaking up and maybe getting on the racetrack.
Well, we'll show you the points as of now. By the way, Brian Hoppe would continue atop the point standings, but the big gainer would be Jim Weber, who would come up 2 spots. You see how the standings. And look at Carlson to lose 6 positions. Steve Carlson in that Phillips Petroleum car had trouble early on. Had to park it, call it a day. Well, Marty, what about the fuel situation?
Well, remember, they do not end under a yellow here, so we go green, white, checkered if we get past lap number 150. And I've talked to the leader's crew here, and they say, fuel's not a concern. We can go as many laps as they need us to.
All right, remember now, inside 10 laps, there's a single file restart with the lead lap cars to the front, so they will not have any lap cars to contend with.
There's that door we were talking about, one of them fiberglass doors. It doesn't take 2 men, guys, to put that in the back of the truck. It's only going to take 1.
Okay, that's Steve Park. All right, as they continue with the cleanup here, and caution flag number 6, we'll come back with the exciting finish. A green, white, and a checkered flag coming your way in a moment.
Fullerton suspension bridge. The strength to weight ratio of those arches is 1,000 to 1. And the support cables are tungsten wrapped with zirconium flex plates. They'll easily support the weight of this bus.
Okay, so what are you, some kind of structural engineer?
No, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Mission Control, we have a problem. Even in today's high-tech engines, deposits can still diminish power. Dirty fuel system affecting performance. Enter Valvoline SynPower, a new line of additives and cleaners, like complete fuel system treatment, formulated with component-targeting synthetics that lock on and eliminate those power-robbing deposits, so your engine runs cleaner and performs the way it should. We have ignition. Valvoline SynPower, rocket science for the road. Right now, buy any 2 SynPower products for the price of 1 with mail-in rebate.
What's the hottest thing to happen to pizza? The new Domino's Heat Wave. It works like a portable oven, delivering a pizza that's really hot, really bubbly, and really worth smiling about. Now a large with up to 3 toppings is just $9.99.
Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway, we are set for one whale of a shootout here. We're going to get green, then white, then checkered flag. And 2 of the top 3 cars running here have never won, or at least 2 of the top 4 have never won, I should say, a NASCAR REMAX Challenge Series event, including our leader, Jim Englebright, 36 years of age, making his first start.
Pace truck is off. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Go, 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 go.
Green flag for the final time, waved by Tom Powell. And here's a move by Hoppe on the inside.
That was a great move pulling down the inside. The rules state that you can't pass until you pass the start-finish line. He stayed in line. As soon as he got past the start-finish line, he made the bid to the inside.
Jason Schuler back in third spot, looking for his second career win. Last year's Rookie of the Year. They will get the white flag this time by. There they are, the top three.
Jason made that outside groove stick earlier, and we'll have to see if he can do it again. He's trying everything he can to try to get around Brian Hoppe.
Jim Engelbright trying to hang on to become the fifth different winner in as many events in 1998. But here's a challenge for second spot off turn 2.
And if you don't think these people in Colorado like this type of racing, just look in the grandstands. They are just on their feet, clapping their hands. And Jason Schuler moves into second spot, trying for a lead on the last lap.
And here comes Schuler on the inside of a turn 4. Can Engelbright hold him out? It's Engelbright by a car length.
Bumper to bumper across the line. That is some exciting racing.
Boy, that is NASCAR Remax Challenge Series competition at its best. And Jason Schuler pulls up to congratulate Jim Engelbright, and listen to these fans.
He just waved to him and told him, hey, that was a great race. He loved racing with him there on that last lap. I'm sure Brian Hoppe's a little disappointed, but he's run a great race.
Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's standing by, I believe, with Chuck Carruthers.
Yeah, very happy, Chuck Carruthers. You guys were, I'm sure, thrilled to see that yellow come out.
Oh, gosh, I was really sweating that. But I really thought we had saved enough left to have something good for him here at the end. But these Art-Go cars, they really got some good horsepower on us, probably about 25, 30 more than what we got. So I was afraid at how they were going to pull us off the corner. But
well, guys, I'm sure his driver's going to give this guy a lot of credit, because remember, they made a shock change at the brake, and that's what put him up front.
Boy, what a great call by Chuck Carruthers, and what a great run. Listen to this crowd. You don't think they enjoy this NASCAR stock car racing action?
They are so thrilled that they have a racetrack such as Pikes Peak here in Colorado to come to and see this type of NASCAR action. And they're all just cheering. The leaders all parked right down on the start-finish line, and the top three just cheering them on.
Well, what a facility Lex Dudas and company put together here. Take a look at our final results. You see there are 11 cars finishing on the lead lap. Engelbright, Schuler, Hoppe, Breese, and Kraus rounding out the top 5. Weber, the veteran, finishing in 6 spots. Snow, Dirks, Schill, Middleton, and Rohrig on the lead lap. Take a look and see where your favorite driver is finished. 28 cars running at the finish here. The last car running, that of Chad Nolting out of Bonner Springs, Missouri. There were 41 starters today, the largest field in the 24-year history of the Art-Go NASCAR Remax Challenge Series. And now the drivers climb out to an ovation from this crowd. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Very excited and very happy and relieved Jimmy Engelbright. We already talked to Chuck Carruthers about how panic-struck he was when he saw that yellow. How about you?
Well, yeah, because we had a pretty good run going there, and then he goes yellow. I go, oh, no, I don't know, you know, because they were telling me where we was at his distance. But, you know, I was saving the car a little bit, so we had a little bit left for him. My wife was spotting more for me. She did a great call coming off the last corner.
Jason Schuler almost had you at the end, but you had enough. Congratulations, guys. It's all yours. Here's your winner.
All right, 36-year-old Jim Engelbright becomes the 63rd different winner in the series. 24-year history. Okay, the Remax Challenge points after 5 events. Brian Hoppe hangs on to the lead. Jim Weber catapults the second spot. Ron Breese, Eddie Hoffman, Al Schill, Travis Quapple, Jason Schuler. Steve Carlson drops back to 8th position. J.R. Rohrig and Larry Middleton. Let's go back down to Marty Reed.
One more lap, Jason Schuler. Could you have gotten him?
I think, I'm pretty sure we could have. The car was really, really good, and I don't know, it's just one of my mistakes. I guess I don't feel quite so bad because I've seen Mark Martin do it, so it's just one of them things you learn from.
I tell you what, you've got more calm than anybody I've seen in a long time. I mean, when we talked to you at the break, I thought you'd be pounding on the steering wheel. I thought you'd be upset right now. But you're right, you learned a lot out of this. I guarantee you next time you won't pull in early, will you?
No, that's for sure. I mean, it's my mistake. I can't blame anyone.
Hey, you still gave it a great run, and we enjoyed watching you.
Thank you.
Guys?
Well, Steve Park, we told you this series is where a lot of careers get catapulted, get launched. We talked about Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace and Dick Trickle and Ted Musgrave and Matt Kenseth. And now the names people can remember for the future are Brian Hoppe, Jason Schuler, and many, many others. What a great finish here at Pikes Peak International Raceway.
That was a great finish. And that young man, Jason Schuler, looked like he didn't even break a sweat after that great charge from the back.
And what a great call by that man right there, changing the shock at the halftime break. Chuck Carruthers sending Jim Engelbright, the 36-year-old driver from Vacaville, California, only his 5th year in asphalt competition. He came from the motorcycle ranks, a motocross racer, but he hung on after a gallant challenge in the final lap by Jason Schuler. Our 5th different winner in 1998. on the NASCAR REMAX Challenge Series is Jim Englebright, the 63rd different winner in the series, 24-year histories. For Steve Park and Marty Reed, I'm Jerry Punch, once again congratulating Jim Englebright on his win at Pikes Peak International. It's been a special presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long from Colorado.